Hey everybody, this is John Cooper. It's Friday, TGIF Friday, and hope you're starting off your weekend very well. I wanted to come to you today and talk about something that is very key as it relates to online marketing, or actually any internet marketing. Anyone who's doing very well in any form of network marketing will tell you that there has to be a motivating factor, a driving force, a why that causes you and provokes you to move forward and to go after this dream of having your own business or your own online business. And that prevailing motivating factor is your why. Well, I liken it even unto this even more, is that you have a why, but behind the why is an I meaning who am I? Who am I? Me. Who am I? Okay? And you have to look at it from your perspective and ask that same question. Before the why becomes the I, who am I? So I wanted today to share with you who I am, or who am I, John Cooper. I'm John Cooper. I'm born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, where I lived all of my life until moving here to where I live now in North Carolina. I'm a 53-year-old, as you can see, an African-American male. And as I grew up, I didn't have anything. My mother was disabled at the age of 10. And so from the age of 10 until she passed away, I did, and my brother, we took care of her and helped to manage her life all the way till the end of her life. And she, as a single mom, disabled, I believe she did a fantastic job with her two boys. But we grew up, had very, very little, much of nothing. I tell my kids of the stories of how we grew up in a house on McAllister Avenue in Columbus, Ohio, and how we grew up in this house. This house had no carpet. It was wooden floors, and the floors were splintered. If you actually walked, you would splinter your foot. If you slid on your rear end on the floor, and this happened to me before, you would actually get a splinter in your rear end. It was something else. And inside this house, with very little wooden floors, there was roaches and there was rats. You turn the lights on and roaches would scatter. You probably, if you've never been in that position before, you probably heard the stories that when you turn on the lights, roaches scatter. I mean, that's the way it was in our house. We had very little. We lived in poverty. But the one thing that was very prevalent in my home was that my mother's drive to ensure that her two children, my brother and I, that we grew up and we made something of ourselves. So she instilled in us that we would get our education. And that's what we did. Both my brother and I, we went on and we got our college educations. I kind of patterned my life on what my brother did. I went and got my associate's degree in electronic engineering technology. Went on from there. Years later, after I was married, my wife and I, we obtained our bachelor's degrees together. My wife, she calls me and provoked me to go on and get my master's degree. I have my master's in business administration, and then even something that I'm very proud of. It's not an earned degree, but it's an honorary degree based off of many, many years working in the Christian church ministry efforts and being an associate pastor and being a pastor of my own church. I was acknowledged for my work, and I was recognized by having a doctorate of divinity conferred upon me. So I have done so many things academically and educational wise, but when you do that, guess what? You obtain bills. So over the years, my being married, having children and so forth, and they are the light of my life, my wife and my two children. But over those years, I've acquired bills and debt. And so here I am. I'm at 53. I've been working in corporate America all of my career, and I still have debt. I still am living not above my means, but I'm living in such a way where, if like most Americans, and truthfully, most Americans are like this. I have lived my life in such a way that if I were to lose my job, I would probably be back where I was when I was a child after a few months, because I would have depleted my funds, my 401ks and so forth. I have those for my retirement, so I'm very thankful for that. But still, you don't want to tap into those because the government will tax you to the max. So in Columbus, going back a few years ago, about 4.5, almost 5 years ago, working for the company that I had worked for 16 years, 16 long years. Built up savings and everything, and I was very, very grateful for this job and still am. But working for them for 16 years, they made a decision. They made a decision that I was not worth what they thought I was, and consequently, they needed to release me, or they did release me from my job. And so, you talk about someone being in a position where just a few months in from being stricken and into poverty level, that's where I was. I was that way. So I had to leave my job. I got a nice little severance package, but it wasn't enough to sustain me. So consequently, I had to withdraw from my 401k, which put me in such a massive tax liability situation. But went on, and for 9 months, I was without a job. 9 months. Can you imagine that? Having a mortgage, having a family. My wife, she decided to stay home when the children were born. They're 16 years old now. She decided to stay home and to raise the children and not work, which is a big task, and I'm so grateful for that, because we've got two wonderful children. But she stayed home, and after being unemployed for 9 months, having to withdraw money and being taxed massively from the government because I pulled from my 401k to live, and had to pay mortgages with my 401k and all that, looking for a job for 9 months without income coming in, I was able to secure a job. But that job required me to move, and that job was here in North Carolina, in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I am so grateful that I was able to obtain that job, and I'm still there with that job. But in that transition, in that time, and actually even before that, I'd always wanted to have my own business because I wanted to be self-employed. But nothing that I tried Amway, I tried so many different things, but none of them would really work. But I always said to myself, I can find a job or something that would create income for me online, instead of trying to hit up my friends and family, because that never worked. Then that would change my life. I needed to find something that could create income for me online. And again, going back, I moved down to North Carolina with this new job. But the thing that was in my mind from then, and which motivated and really drove me, was that I never wanted to be in that position again. I never wanted to be where that I was liable. I was in the grips of another being or another individual, another entity, where if they stopped paying me, that I would be lost almost, so that I would not have the ability to feed my children or to live like I needed to live. And I made up my mind that I was going to do something, and I was going to move forward with it, and I was going to try to change my life so that would never happen again. So upon coming to North Carolina, and after having my family here, and probably being here for about a year, I found something that matched what I wanted. I wanted an online business where I didn't have to hunt down my family and friends. And being here in North Carolina, I didn't have a whole lot of friends or a lot of people to connect with, other than at the church that I started attending. But I did not want to track down people. I did not want to have house parties. I did not want to do all of these things that I had done in the past that did not prove any success for me in trying to build my own business. But still, I wanted to have my own business that was online, that would gather people who were like-minded, interested in building a business. And that's what I ended up finding. I found a mentor. I found someone online who I wanted to mimic, and he was doing everything that I thought I wanted to do as far as building an online business, and something that would attract people or draw people rather than me chasing them down. And I found that mentor. His name is Fraser McDonald. He is a young man who's 24 years old, and he's been in online marketing, online business now for about 4 years. But in 4 years, he's amassed, probably now he's at a level where he's amassed over $500,000 in income over 4 years. Okay, but what you got to understand is that in the first year and a half of him doing an online business, it was not successful until he found a mentor and somebody and began to duplicate what they were doing. And that's what I found. I found someone who was being successful, and someone who I could duplicate what they were doing. And so, cut to the chase. Here I am today. Here I am doing my online business. I'm still working a regular job, but I'm doing my online business. I'm providing for my family, and I'm amassing wealth and profits such that my hope is that within 6 months to a year, I will have unemployed or disemployed my own employer. And I know it can be done. You know how I know that? Because I've seen it done. And I know that these people are real, like Frazier, like Vincent, like so many other individuals, like Kiara, like so many other individuals that I have met and have seen online who are doing online business very, very successfully. So the question is, who am I? Who am I? Before the why, the who am I is that I'm John Cooper. That is my story. And because of who I am, everything that I had to walk through, being unemployed, being close to no income, having difficulty making it for my own family and feeding them, having those challenges, those transitions. That is who I am, but that is what motivated me to my why. Who I am is what motivated me to my why. Now, I never will be put in that position again. I never will have to get into the opportunity where I cannot necessarily provide, or I will be at poverty's door. I experienced that when I was a kid, and God is fortunate. I'm fortunate enough that God has blessed me with, I mean, this house that I live in now. It's a beautiful house, almost 3,000 square feet. But just because of its size, that doesn't mean anything. What is meaningful is that I've got my family and I've got a place for them to live. And I'm doing what I'm doing because I am who I am, John Cooper, and I've got a why that motivates me to become that and even more, and to show my children how that they can be even more. So that is who I am, John Cooper. Allow me to introduce to you who I am. That's an introductory statement, a little bit of my story as to who I am, along with my why. Now, with that being said, I would encourage you. I have come across you. You have come across me because you've expressed a desire to have your own online business, okay? And it won't happen unless you, or who am I, comes out. Your who am I comes out and motivates you and provokes you to stir you and turn on that why factor, okay? And perform the same things that Frazier did. He found a mentor. I did. I found a mentor. And we both began to replicate what they were doing. And this is what can happen for you if you let your why motivate you and stir you. And click that button below. Okay? It may not be for everyone, but you'll never know unless you try. Let your I be the why that motivates you to take action. Change your life. Click the button below, or to my right or to my left. It might even be above me, but click the button. Let your eyes stir you. That's me. Who am I? I'm John Cooper. You have a blessed day, and I cause you and provoke you into action. Click the button below. Let your eye motivate you. You have a blessed weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.